To be honest with you, in college, we drank a lot in high school, all right? And then in college, it was mostly all drugs. It was mostly like, I'm telling you.
So what shows did you have tonight?
So I headlined the Fairfield Comedy Club, which New York Comedy Club also owns.
Nice.
So I did a 7 o'clock show, a 9 o'clock show. I ran a little bit over on the 9 o'clock, and they wanted 40, I did 51.
Cool.
But then I had to hustle it down here for the 12:30 spot here, and now I'm going home.
What's the most you'll do?
I think 3 spots is great. And this, I mean, honestly, I'm trying to, I love working. Like, as I get older, the more I'm just like, please keep me busy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this was, I mean, 45, drive down to another 15. So fun.
That is
fun.
That's a very rare setup in New York.
Yes.
Like you can't really go on the, like, there's a few gigs like right outside the city that you can go do and also like make it back for a midnight show.
I wonder if 3:45s would seem like too much, because right now this seems like the perfect amount of comedy, but it's also quite possible if I got a 7, 9, and 11 and I was doing very well in my career,
Sure.
I'd be like, this was a great night.
Yeah.
It does seem fucking exhausting to do 7 and 9 Thursday, 7, 9, 11 Friday and Saturday, and then one show on Sunday. That seems
That's
like
a lot.
I'm so wiped fucking out. But
Yeah.
that is the marker of a successful comic. So it's a weird thing.
Sure, but like the quality at like those 11 o'clock, those late shows can be
Shit shows.
fucking
Yeah.
dicey.
Nightmares.
Dicey. Like how was the last one you just did?
They're a little rowdy, and then I said some.
This one, we were on the same show.
They were fun.
The girls on the right.
Top. I didn't notice them.
Oh,
I might have got
dude.
thrown out.
Well, they said something. One girl said something
Just
like,
wooing, and it's like, dude, pull it back a little bit.
what's
You're
weird,
killing me.
this guy was talking too much, and I said, where are you from? And he said, across the water. And then I said, yeah, me too, man. Like, I didn't think that was that strong of a line, and I'm not saying it is now, but the audience loved it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. And then that, for me, issues with confidence and self-esteem, like a lot of comics. But the first laugh, once I get the first laugh, I loosen up a good
It settles,
amount.
of course,
Absolutely.
of course.
First laugh for me is so big.
Yeah.
So that off top, this massive laugh that I didn't think would be a massive laugh, I was like, oh all right,
shit,
cool.
yeah.
And then I tried edgy stuff toward the end. I did a bunch of relationship stuff up top that they loved. And then I decided to try an edgy joke, and they were kind of like, it was probably a weird order to put it in. But one thing I gotten from Andrew Schultz, a good friend of mine who's like blowing up. He's really in a good headspace right now, and he's talking about enjoying the process.
You gotta fall in love with the process.
And not even just fall in love with the process, but don't be tied to the result. And that's what I'm trying to remind myself up there. Good set, bad set, don't matter. I am working on jokes and working on bits, and I'm gonna take these home, and we talked about this, I'm committed to writing off stage again, and like every word should matter. And that's the process, and I'm trying to say, hey, that's what I love is the process. Good set, bad set, it's very hard to do. Like, I'm kind of in my head, but none of these shows went as well as I wanted. I wanted it. And even that said, I was killing them up top, and then at the end, and that's always a horrible feeling. But I'm trying to say, fuck that.
But when you know it's
Process.
newer and you know you're working on it, you know.
Yeah, it's almost harder for me to keep a joke funny for a long time.
Fresh,
Because
yeah.
it stops being fun
They
for
get
me.
stale because you're just like going through the rhythm.
That's
and the
yeah,
motions.
I'm that guy that very much, to a fault, is turning over material. I'm never getting anything perfect, but it's fun for me to just move on to the next thing. So
I
a big
gotcha.
step for me right now, I'd like to think, is I'm just trying to hone
Just
these
tighten,
jokes that I
tighten,
have
tighten,
and just
tighten.
just really tighten them
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. From those Gary Goldman tips that he's been posting online about how
They're great. We were talking about it the other night.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
But about how every word matters. Like there's one joke where I say right now.
Yeah.
And then in the punchline, I say right now.
Yeah.
And then I started to train myself to not say the first right now.
Yeah.
And the punchline hits way harder.
'Cause you take away
just
the
because I
premium
didn't
of
say
it.
that one
Yeah.
fucking word.
And if someone's
Right
writing,
now it's 2 words.
have you ever read? Good point. Have you, ever,
I mean, like if we're counting words and you're just wrong on the word count.
You know what I mean?
have you ever read someone's email and they repeat the same word in 2 different sentences, and you're like, yo, you shouldn't do that. People look at me like, okay, shut up. That's not a big deal.
Well, are you
It's a
really
huge
correcting
deal.
them?
Yeah.
Okay.
If they're like, look over this email.
I mean, I don't know if that's a
I don't-
correctable offense.
I thought-
if your last.
Yeah,
okay.
I thought you meant you're
like-
responding. Hey,
Like,
first off.
hey asshole, you used.
it might
you know.
just be my girl, but like I know for a fact she'll have me look over emails that she's gonna send. I'll be like, yo, change that word. And now she does it, but before she'd be like, that's not a big deal. But it's a big deal to us because we know each word matters.
Matters, yeah.
You can't say right now
The word
and then right now.
economy,
You
yeah.
can't use that. You can't double up ever.
Anything, yeah.
Unless the humor is
in
the
that.
symmetry of it.
Yeah.
Sure.
You can't just casually say, water bottle and water bottle is two different.
That's what was happening. I was like, what the fuck is wrong? And then I read the Goldman's thing. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Goldman is like improving comedy.
Oh, dude, he's gonna like 2020 and 2021 and 2022 are like all gonna be accredited.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Gary
special
Goldman.
should be accredited to Gary
Yeah,
Goldman and
really.
from 2020 on.
Yeah.
Because he's gonna just be creating monsters.
Yeah. Very motivational to read Goldman tips.
Do you have a place that you go and write specifically?
I never did. Now I am, as I'm honing the bit, and we talked about this. I got this tip from Malingan Mitra, a good friend of mine. Malingan Mitra,
Very funny guy.
Very good writer. And I always had bits that were like B material, maybe B plus, and then I could kind of. This sounds arrogant, but I'm charismatic on stage. I can be charming
sell
on
it.
stage.
Yeah.
I can sell it with energy
Sure.
up one full letter
Inflection,
grade.
everything, yeah.
I just get that part. But I'm being lazy. And Lingon is kind of the opposite. He's a smart workhorse kind of guy. His bits are A plus bits. And I asked him about his process, and he said, like, after I've done a bit a few times, I will transcribe the joke, and then I'll look for weak points. You can see when it's written out, there's certain weak points.
Yeah, like this doesn't really carry. This is kind of filler. Type
So
thing,
this is my new process as of the beginning of this year is take these bits that I've had that are B whatever that I like that I haven't polished, write it out, and then see where I can strengthen everything. Take kind of new bits, write them out, see where I can strengthen stuff.
Sure.
And so that's kind of my process, and I am not the guy, have never been the guy who can focus for hours on end. My cousin who's a doctor, I was supposed to be a doctor, but he can obviously, he can focus for 8 hours straight and just study. Nothing else matters.
Yeah.
Or like, hey, I'm gonna study for 8 hours, I'm gonna study. I will need 24 hours. I'll take 3 times as many breaks, and then I'll study 8 hours.
Yeah.
So I just kind of sit in a chair, and then I allow my mind to go where it goes, but I always try to, let's focus on this. That's kind of my process. It's pretty loose. Yeah.
And you're obviously a diner guy. You love a nice
I'm a
diner
diner
session.
guy.
Do you have a go-to
man.
diner?
Huh?
Do you have a go-to diner?
Oh, I like Tivoli a lot right up here.
Yeah,
I love
Tivoli's
Tivoli.
nice.
It's quality food,
Yeah.
quality service.
Yeah,
They
they
used to
redid
be-
it nice too.
There used to be so many more. It used to, like, I feel like Manhattan is losing,
It's losing its diner.
it's losing a little bit of that charm of the diners.
Yeah.
You know what
And
I
plus,
mean?
it's $20. If you go in there and eat, it's $20.
I eat like a king for $20. Eat like a fucking king for
I always
$20.
tell people, if you're really hungry, you get the entree because you're getting 2 vegetables, a potato, and the fucking salad. It's a home
It's
run.
aggressive. This guy ordered a legit 3-course meal.
What did I
the
get?
other night.
Yeah, that's
What'd
what
I
that's
I
what
don't
the
know.
entree.
You got
I got avocado BLT, turkey bacon, and I got a smoothie.
a smoothie.
Yeah.
Oh, and someone else got ice cream. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
It's fantastic though.
Yeah. What's your go-to? Do you have a go-to order at the diner?
At Tivoli, depends on what diner. At Tivoli, it is the avocado BLT with turkey bacon, multi-grain bread, mayo on the side. Done.
Rattled that off like it's
Bing.
fucking tattooed on
Done.
you. I
Done.
like it.
We were at the diner earlier tonight, and it's funny. Like, I just love that. Like, that's one of the things about living in New York that I love. Like, when you're in a good diner, and like, I especially love the regulars, like the old lady that comes in every night, or like, when you think about it, they're like feeding people's like steady meals. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many regulars.
Yeah.
I love that feeling.
Did you love
of
the
being
diner
there.
before comedy?
I enjoyed a diner before comedy. might have been the 1 or 2.
Look at him. That's
Might
got
have had an omelet. What of it?
That's diner body right
Oh
there.
yeah, I
That's
got
not-
diner face.
Well, here's why I'm asking. Sometimes, and this is a very small example, but sometimes you wonder, like, oh, is this part of what makes me, I've always been a comic, I just didn't realize it? Or, like, I've just always watched everybody and thought about things non-fucking stop.
Sure.
And turned them over in my head to a very unhealthy degree.
Sure.
And I always thought about that, like, so I was a comic kind of before I was a comic.
100%.
And on a much
You just
smaller
found an outlet
scale.
for it. Yeah.
On a much smaller scale, I'm wondering if, because I've always loved a diner hang, and I
Yeah.
feel like that's a comic thing. So I'm wondering, is that just part of my wiring as a comic, or is that just I'm searching for something as my
I think so, 100%.
No, well,
100%.
it's probably part of what keeps you in it. You know what I mean? You're like, yeah, comedy's fun because you got the brain running all the
Right,
time. But
right.
then you're like, also the hang at the diner is also so fun.
Always loved it though. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, college, you send me to an IHOP, I'll be there till 3 in the morning.
Dude, loved an IHOP.
I would
Loved
take
an
IHOP
couple
again.
of
I don't
refills
drink.
over here.
I don't drink, but IHOP over a bar is not even a question.
We used to
Till
love
4
Denny's in
morning.
college. Denny's was great for a good hang.
I was honestly too bougie for Denny's.
Yeah, Denny's is fucking trash.
No.
I've been to a Denny's once.
You
go
can
to-
find a nice Denny's in the suburbs.
You could,
Debatable.
go Waffle House and slum it, or go IHOP and live like
Oh, you're from the South though, right?
Yeah, you
I
guys
like a
yeah.
Waffle
Yeah,
House.
you have
Waffle
proper.
House is good.
I've never been.
But I think that's interesting you saying that because I think that is something that I'm very, I love the lifestyle. Not even love it, but the lifestyle of being a comedian I feel like it feels like what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Like what you're saying.
You're a
you know
night
what I mean?
owl, probably. I've always been a night owl.
Yeah.
Always had trouble in the mornings. For comedy, that's exactly what you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So if you have family in town or friends in town, like
Yeah.
from college or whatever, like,
Right.
hey, we want to go to a show. What do you say?
I'll let you know when there's a show worth coming to.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay. And then
If I got my sister's got some friends from out of the country who are coming to see me in New York on Tuesday, and that was part of me being like, this is probably going to be a great show, but whatever. Go have fun, enjoy the process. Like I'm really making that a thing.
True.
But before, I'd be like, fuck, man. If you want to come to the show, sure, but like I'm gonna hate it. I'm gonna be miserable the whole time. And now I'm trying to be like, yo, just go enjoy the joke.
Just
telling
yeah.
and have fun.
It's tough. I would have like if I was like doing like some shitty bar show in the village or whatever, and like people would come like, I'm in town, I want to come. I'd be like, we saw you're there or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, you shouldn't really come to this one, you know. But I'm like, but then like they would come and I'd give them like instruction. Not I'd be like, listen, this is
Disclaimer.
like a free show.
Yeah.
Like we're working
with a
on new
disclaimer.
shit. Like four of the comics you could be like, this guy's a psychopath.
You know,
should
before
never
you
have
watch a really
microphone.
violent movie, they hit you with a
NC-17 or something.
a little disclaimer on TV. Some of this
Yeah.
is not suitable for children. You let them know the bloodbath is coming.
Sure.
That's what I do. Real talk here on the weekends near a comedy club. It's fucking lights out. It's always the shows are always hot.
So
They're
fun.
always great. Because the only thing that I worry about is I don't want it to be a bad show in front of them, so that when they leave, they're like, "What's he doing with his life?"
Yeah.
I wouldn't know, but dude, and anytime somebody's in town on the weekends and I'm working here, come to the show.
Yeah.
Fucking
I
lights out.
had one time, it was here, my mom's like, oh, my friends are in town, I told them you were on the show, they looked it up, and I'm like, all right. It was like a Wednesday night late show,
Right.
I don't know, there was like 20 people in it was like a light crowd on a fucking Wednesday night in the winter, and dude, they're dead center. Like the only
that's
people lit,
fucking
the only
brutal.
people lit, and he sat there like this
God.
the whole entire time.
That's a nightmare.
Dude, and I'm flop sweat, I'm shake, I'm like this. It's like from Seinfeld, the pilot was in the audience, and I'm like, I'm fucked. And I'm just looking at this guy's going, he's gonna text my mom, like, what's that guy doing with his life? This is what you support? And then, dude, at one point, I heard him like slurp his drink and to no
Chew
water
his
come
ice.
up and then shake it and like do it again. And I'm like, I was fucking bombing. I got off stage, I'm like, dude, I called my mom, like, why the fuck did you tell him I was there? I'm like, Jesus Christ, you gotta run that by me. You can't just be sending people to the show and they're sitting in the front row. Oh, dude, I lost
Did he
it.
say anything to you afterward?
No, I left. I bounced. I was not sticking around to be like, hey, thanks for coming or so. Yeah, I dipped out hardcore. Yeah.
That's funny. You kind of came up through the West Village a little bit, would you say?
Yeah,
You did a
the
lot of
old
shows
Village
down there?
Lantern,
The old Village Lantern.
like you
was-
got.
And we did a lot of spots down there coming up for the first 3 years, a couple of years apart. What's your go-to dollar slice in the city?
There's a spot on 14th and 6th that I like a lot.
14th
And
and
sixth?
6th.
Or like 9th and 6th, like 9th and 6th. It was on the way to that station. If I wanted the dollar slice.
Oh, I know it. Up on the right. Like if you're going uptown,
it's
it's on
99-cent fresh pizza.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
a really good one.
It's a solid-
Yeah, that's like right at like 8th or 9th or something.
For
like
me, listen, there's great. Joe's is a great pie and all that, but like the biggest thing for me is just if it's fresh. I love a fresh pie. And the good thing about 99-cent pizza
They're always
is it's a
moving.
bunch of monsters.
They're
just
always
buying
Man,
moving.
dude, they're just pies
always
coming
fresh
out
pies coming
constantly.
So I don't care if it's not real cheese. I like that it's hot and it's fresh.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah.
What's the least amount of people you think you ever performed in front of?
3.
3?
Probably at the Lantern. Probably 2.
Yeah.
I've probably done 2.
Yeah.
We've done nightmare shows. All of us.
Yeah.
Dude, those
that
were
came
brutal.
from the
Nightmares.
Lantern.
I did one time. It was 2 people, and the one guy didn't speak English, so the other guy would translate the joke. So
Oh
I
my
would,
God.
I'd be like, "Hey, I went to the store the other day," and then he would look over and be like, "Da da 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 da," and then he would be like, "All right." And
You know
I'm
what's
like,
crazy?
Fucking brutal.
If someone asks you your worst show, is that your worst show?
No.
Isn't
no,
that
no,
crazy?
of course.
Isn't that insane that
course.
show is not your worst show?
not your worst show, of course.
The hell that we come up through is insane, dog. That you're looking at that show like that wasn't even
That's
a
not even a
bad
show.
show.
That's- yeah.
It was just all right. It
Yeah.
was there. It happened. That's at a regular night at that time in my
Yeah.
life.
I forget that even happened at times.
What's
You know
your
what I
worst
mean?
show? Sorry to flip it. I know you
No,
gotta put it on your
no,
ass.
it's a good question. I don't know if I have like an absolute worst
Oh, buddy,
show. You'd have to give me a minute.
We
What's
did
yours?
one in Philly. I did one in Philly.
Yeah.
It was like one of my first book shows.
Okay.
It was at this bar in Jersey, in South Jersey. I swear to God, it was during an Eagles playoff game. And they had the fucking thing pulled down, like the big
projection
screen. And they had us doing time in between commercials. We'd go up, and I run up there and go up there and do it.
That is the biggest nightmare.
Dude.
Yeah, people don't understand comedy. They're like, we're such fucking assholes. We're like, all right, well, I'll go.
Yeah, we'll do it.
We don't value ourselves.
No, not
We
yet.
don't value
No.
ourselves.
But the worst one I ever saw, and you made me think of this, is our buddy Sam Rubinoff. You know Rubes.
Yeah.
So he used to run a show at 206, and he put his heart and soul into it and all that stuff. So one night, they got it, and it was packed in there. You know what I mean? He's out there 2 hours fucking
Dragging people in off the street. Hey, free comedy show. Like,
and he's such
brutal.
a great guy that, he was going last on the show.
He's an idiot for that.
He was going last on the show.
Fucking idiot for that.
So one of the Barkers goes up, and dude, it's a full room. Full room. There's probably 30 people in there. This one comic goes up, and fucking so crazy, so bad, just the worst. You're like, what the fuck? He takes her off stage, and he goes up to do his thing, turns around, and literally dudes are like chugging their beers. The whole entire room. You remember 206? They had the doors in the patio. Dude, it was like there was a fire. And by the time he turned around to be like, hey, everybody, they were gone. Everybody was gone.
That's horrible.
And I was like, that is fucking rough.
What's yours?
I got paid a bunch of money to do this show for these Indian Catholics. They're called Kana Catholics.
Okay.
And I didn't know these people. Like, I didn't know their culture.
Mm-hmm.
Their culture, first of all, everybody drinks. Like, I'm in a nice hotel, but I see this Indian girl walk, and she's like 16, 17 probably, with her dad, Indian uncle. Like, I'm assuming Indian uncle, straight-laced, whatever. She just opens the door to one full hotel room, like the whole room. She's like, well, let's keep all the liquor in here. We'll just fill this whole room with liquor. And the dad just like, okay. And I was like, what? This is weird. I don't understand. I'm performing in this room for the youth, and I tell them the whole time we need to do a sound check. I literally get there a day early so we can do a sound check. And they keep saying, sound is good, sound is good, sound is good. I get there. The room is seated terribly. And we always want a rectangular room, right?
Sure.
Shallow rectangle. This is a shallow rectangle if you do it correctly, but instead they put the stage here. So now the room is like this, and this is a terrible comedy set, narrow and long. And then there's speakers for me, but the speakers only get about 60% of the audience. The back 40%, maybe 30%, can't hear anything. On top of that, the speakers have an echo. On top of that, these kids are all drunk. It's a bunch of drunk 15, 14-year-olds. The dudes don't want to laugh at me because it's like, what if the girls like this? Because they're insecure. They're like, what if the girls like this guy? Fuck him. The girls are drunk. They can't hear me. There's an echo.
Yeah.
Dog, I had a guy open for me, funny comic. He has a joke about how bad the gig is. Within 30
That's a bad gig.
Not even lying. Within 10 seconds, he starts bombing. Like, immediately.
Never got off the ground.
And this is something I got from the Lantern. There is no hell that can break me up there.
Oh, no.
Afterward, I'm broken.
Sure.
You will not see me break on that stage.
Yeah.
I have a wireless mic. I jump off the stage. They told me I have to do 45 minutes minimum. I did an hour and 5 because
Just
fuck
to spite
you.
them. Yeah,
because fuck you, you will not break me.
Yeah.
I jumped off the stage and started asking people why they were so terrible. And then it didn't break me, but it made me be like, all right, this isn't gonna go anywhere. I went to one guy who was straight snoring, just drunk, passed out in the back, couldn't hear anything I was saying, and then I was like, all right, I got back on stage, did my time, and did more than my time and got up. That's my worst gig.
Yeah. Buddy, thank you so much for doing it. I appreciate it, pal.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. That was
What is this for?